Right. Okay. The music is coming through a lot louder than I want it to. Does the desktop audio change it? Hello, Apollo and onwards. Can you hear me? Hello, Apollo and onwards. Alright, let's turn the mic down a little bit. Can you hear me? Hello, Apollo and onwards. Alright, let's turn the mic down a little bit. Can you hear me? Hello, Apollo and onwards. Alright, let's turn the mic down a little bit. I'm gonna... One second, I'm going to move the laptop away because... So I'm using the laptop to gauge the current sound limit so I can set this up so... I'm going to... One second, I'm going to move the laptop away because... So I'm using the laptop to gauge the current sound limit so I can set this up so... Right, if I talk now, is the music too loud for my voice? Because if I don't have music on, I'll lose my mind. It sounds fine through my laptop. Let's swap. Hey there. I mean, this sounds all right to me. I mean, yeah, that's the only thing I was worried about because on Twitch you don't really have to worry, from what I understand. Maybe I stop the music. I mean, yeah, that's the only thing I was worried about because on Twitch you don't really have to worry. But we'll stop the music. Never mind. We'll get there. Evening Valleys, thanks for joining. Yeah, so I was going to put some music on, and it seems that I completely forgot about the word copyright. Don't know how that happened. You know, it could be worse. I could have easily, you know, completely completely forgotten at all. So thank you, Upwell. You're Aaron. You're amazing, dude. Thank you. I've completely muted the laptop now. I'm using the laptop specifically just so I can keep an eye on the bitrate over here. But I've got your comments live on the second screen. I've got you, me here. So I've got this camera here from my phone. You can see that I have this in about. Oh, gotta find it here. Oh, there is the pixel rate. And there is another pixel rate, and here is a ghost image, watermark. I haven't paid for this, so I'm using Droid Cam for OBS. So I'm using OBS Studios to do the live stream. And what can I say? I'm skin at the moment, so it can wait till payday. But I really like the software. I really like the integration with OBS, and it should really help create better videos, because right now I'm recording directly off the like for previous videos I've been recording directly off the phone, and it has sort of, when I've blown it up, you can probably see that the actual tick rate of the videos is not great. Like you can see here, it's even now it's still a bit grainy, which isn't the best, but I will unlock 4K capabilities when I do the pay through. And with some luck, that will really unlock the potential of this phone, because it can record some really good stuff. It's just the bitrate completely changes through editing. So we're going to see how that goes. So yeah. yeah. Well, I really thought about doing an Instagram stream, but it just. I don't know, I just thought I wouldn't be able to get, 3 different camera angles to be able to show what I do. So, I wanted to set it up so I had the bench cam. I wanted to be able to say, right, okay, so I'm now going to swap to, whatever I'm doing on the screen. This is how I sort of wanted it to work out. So it should be all right. But as long as you can hear me, then... Oh, awesome, thanks for telling me. Cool. So I suggest you either get a beer or a coffee or a tea or something like that. Join me. I'm drinking a nice Budweiser. Cheers. It's probably another thing we're probably not allowed to do on YouTube. I will find out. So, I've got a free evening. The wife and the child are not here for tonight and tomorrow, and I thought about doing some modelling. So this this is a any guesses? Any guesses what this is? I'll bring it a little bit closer to this camera. But Aaron, you should be getting to work and not watching me, right? Shouldn't you? That's your fault. I mean, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. But what's your boss gonna say? Right, come on then, you should know what this is. Mr. Upwell and onwards, you should know what this is, come on. He says, this is me saying, here, you tell me what it is, when I can't remember specifically myself. Let's go there we go. I've got the box, so now I know what it is. I'll give you a few seconds. Come on, Aaron, don't let me down. No takers. Oh, well done. Well done. Yes, so it is a GWR 5-plank open wagon. This is one of the older ratio super detail railway kits. It's a decent, it comes up as a decent kit. I use super glue for this because I was incredibly hasty and I thought, well, why the frick not? I bought a few of these old ratio kits on eBay maybe 2 years ago. and I think they cost me like £4 each or something like that. I got a really good bargain on a few of them. I think they cost me like £4. And I thought, I want them. I completely want them, so I bought them. And I've made 3 of them. I broke one of them, so I had a toad, the 5-plank open, and some sort of mink. I think it just wasn't an iron. No, it was just a 10-ton boxman, which came out quite nicely. But specifically, this one here, if I open a new tab, let me swap my screen. There we go, look at that. So, always, as a GWR modeler, always have this page tabbed. So, for those of you who don't know, this is gwr.org, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place to get information. Half the jokes I say are not YouTube friendly, and it's an open web. But that's very, very true. But you know, you can message me on Instagram and I'll read it. You know, I'll take the brunt of the hit. You save yourself. But anyway, they have this lovely listings page here for ready to run models, for locos, rolling stock, whatever. And they have 2mm, 2.5mm, 3mm, 4mm sections, and 7mm sections. And the wondrous thing about this is you can go and look at what wagons and what locomotives and what coaching stock is available. Whether it's no longer available or whatever, there is a record of it. These guys have been very meticulous and they update it regularly. So we know that this is a ratio kit, and we know that it is a GWR 5-plank open wagon. So with that, we can go and find here. So there's a 5-plank open by Coopercraft that is an 04. There's another 5-plank an 04 by Sparkshot Custom Creations and Colin Ashby. Now, so the closest we could probably get to this is a 5-plank open that is an 011 or an 015 from Parkside. There's also, there we go. So, 5-plank open is a diagram 029 from ratio number 564. Now, that says 5064. Don't know if you can see that. So I'm inclined to say that that is what this is referring to. But if you look in the highlighted notes, they've actually got a column here. Let me scroll up quickly, where they give notes or conversions to. So by the look of this, if we go back to here, so this is an 029 diagram. So we can go GWR 029 and look at that. Straight away we've got 1 million images of an 029. So very basic 029 stock, and I think that's pretty spot on. Early 50s Western Railways. Oh, nice. So all of this stuff should be completely rusted to heck by the time you get around to modelling it. But yeah, I thought about doing a late GWR, early WR layout. I'll probably get around to getting some stuff later, but at the moment not interested. I'm really solidly stuck to just around grouping error. But yeah, so this is the diagram that we've got here, and it's a relatively good kit. I didn't install the brake lever, so you can see on this example here that there is a brake lever on this side. It's missing some the catches for the drop door, and there's no chain on it, there's no buffers on it. So I didn't finish this kit completely, but then the kit itself wasn't completely finished. I think if I look in here, yeah, if I look in here, the last things that are in here are the last little bits. So I'll get round to them eventually, but right now it's not at the top of my priority list. But you know, for a few quid, I was going to go for it. So let me put that to one side. So today's kit I want to show you guys at least the kit I'm going to start with, is not this. I'm saving this for a cut and shut project, so keep your eyes peeled. It's not this one either. I'm going to do a dedicated video to this when I get some new equipment in and I can do it properly and do it justice. This is the latest kit. But in here, underneath this palm of which is, well, I've just looked at a recording and it's already there, so I'm just going to take my hand off it. Don't send anything to that address. I don't live there anymore. So I've got these 3 kits here, and I've got 2 axles that I've stolen from somewhere else. So these kits are... I might order from them again. So these 3 kits are Ian Kirk kits. Let me get rid of these. I'll explain those later when we get around to it, if I get around to it, that is. So these are Ian Kirk kits. Very old kits, probably can tell from the packaging. We have 2 4-plank wagons and a 7-plank. So, by power of deduction, we're going to go to our list of kits here, and we're going to find the Kirk 4-planker and 7-planker. So there you go. So right here we have a 7-plank open Kirk, no longer available, and it's an O2, but it can be converted into an O10. So we're going to go GWR O2 wagon. So here is a drawing of the 7 planks, and by the looks of things there's a Cooper Craft version and there's another Cooper Craft version, so there are some reference pictures, and that's good. We need reference pictures for these things. So we've got one of these, and you know what, we'll open a Cooper Craft. Oh, it's in GWR modelling as well. Look at that. So it's right in the same web page that I've come back from. So there you go. Oh, that's a terrible image. Anyway, so always think about when you're creating these kits that you get some reference images, because they will be invaluable. So we've got a diagram O2, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and put DIAO2, so I know that for later. Now these 2 are 4-plank open wagons from Mr. Ian Kirk. Again, they look like rather good models. We just have to find... Yes, I know I could probably go through this and, you know, type what I'm looking for. But I had it earlier. There you go. So, there is a 4-plank open O21 Ashby Kirk. And no longer available. So, you can find these, but they're no longer available. Which is interesting. And there's no conversions to be had from them. So, we can look here and go O21. And there you have it. So, some of you will know for a fact that Rapido have recently brought out a diagram O21 4-plank open wagon in ready-to-run form. So, I have competition from these kits. Now, bear in mind, this costs what... Let's have a look. We'll go to the Rapido website, 00 gauge, wagons... We said it was a GWR 4-plank open diagram 21. So we have a beautiful reference image here. He says that he's sharing but not sharing the right screen. There we go. Sorry about that. So, $32.95. This is one of these. It's $32.95. Now I'm not saying that's a terrible price. It looks incredibly detailed. I'm not going to lie. But I'm curious to see how far off we can get these two kits. You know, this is it's very simple. I'll probably do one in this smaller letter GWR and another in this sort of GWR, not the bigger letters. I found an eBay listing for some more of these, so I'm definitely going to pick up some more. But yeah, that's the idea. But you can see that they look amazing. But for $32.95 for a single wagon is a bit, you know. But again, there's a reference image, and from going off the reference image, it looks pretty good. So the Rapido wagons are pretty expensive. Yeah, they really are. But from what I've seen, the quality is simply amazing. You know, it's really, really, really interesting. I don't know. It really gets me. I haven't seen what the actual. So, going off this detail alone, single-sided brakes, which is fine. High level of detail above and below the floor line. Spoked wheels running in metal bearings. NEM pockets. And that's it. That's all we can expect from the Rapido for $32.95. So I'm curious to see if I can do the same thing for a lot less. I bought these for $4.50 each on eBay, sealed. And the only thing I can see that is missing is metal spoked axles. So I picked up at least one set. Now these are 8 spoked axles, which by the looks of things look as they should be, according to the Rapido picture. We'll have a look. So by the looks of things, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So these are the right size spoked wheels. So we should be good to go. So that's the aim. I want to try and aim for a representation of these wagons for a fraction of the price. So now enough of me babbling. Let's do some modelling. So we need a set of tools to be able to do this. Don't need a pencil. Now usually you should have yourself some snips. I don't have any good snips anymore. I've got some on order, so scalpel blade and a swig of beer is what we're going to do. There we go, switch to my face cam. And we're just going to go for it. So first things first, we're going to open up these. No, first things first, we're actually going to write in these diagram 021s. DIAO.21. Now we're going to put the 1 4 and 1 7 plank to the side for now, and I'm going to open up this first 4mm. Now I haven't opened these at all, so these are brand new. I've never opened these at all, and you know, I'm really curious as to how they're going to come out. Anyway, how are you all doing this evening? Let me know what you're up to, what you're doing modelling wise, what you're doing right this second. I know Senor Upwell has told me that he has told us that he is working. So I'm curious to see what the rest of you are doing. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you're up to. Like I said, very curious to understand what you're doing at the moment. We're going to need a small thing for sure. Let me just get up and find my box of tools, which I seem to have moved somewhere. There is my box of tools. So, one thing we're going to need from my box of tools is some sort of flat file, we're also going to need a set of tweezers. And at least another set of tweezers. We need a small file of some sort. Probably that one will be better. And that'll do. There we are, see? I have my printer on. I was going to show you some stuff on Template. But we'll do that. We'll do one wagon and then we'll see how it's going, see what the time is, and then decide what we're going to do next. Yeah, so I have to have a think about how I'm going to do these. Because I would like to have sort of realistic weight, or I say realistic, I mean like scaled down, slightly weighted coaches. Coaches, wagons, whatever. So I should probably let you in on, I want to, if you know McKinley Railway, they operate on a triplet system. And I believe that Charlie at Chadwick does exactly the same thing. They operate on triplet systems, meaning that they have 3 wagons of the same type that are permanently connected. And that's how they work, that's how they run. Now, I plan on having 2 different systems. One will be trains that are constantly connected, meaning that the rakes will never change. But also, that will be mainly for just 3 trains. So going from Fiddleyard, across the scene, back to Fiddleyard. But anything that is on a stopping service, a pickup goods, local goods, you know, anything like that that is leaving something behind, being shunted, or whatever it is, will be made up of a similar system to McKinley and Chadwick, but couplets. That way I can shorten the size of the rakes that I have to accommodate layout, i.e. I have a 2.5 meter shunting layout with a single normal branch line going through it. I can't have a triplet set of wagons making 12, 15, 18 wagons long on a branch line this size. However, I can do 10 wagons of 5 couplets and shunt them accordingly. So, at least that's my thinking. Because the idea in the real world is that a train will be longer at the beginning and will drop off and pick up on the way down. So it could be nothing by the time it gets to the end of the branch, or it could have dropped off 2, picked up 1, dropped off 3, picked up 1, picked up 2, whatever, on the way down and on the way back up. So the idea is that it will constantly change. But I'll go into that when I eventually get around to actually having a layout. Now, enough blurbing. Let's get this open. So, the first thing we need to do, and the first thing you should always do with your kits, is sand them down. Grind them down, because you can see, maybe you can see, I don't know, that there is flash all over these things. Now, the way I like to do it is I like to take a little nail file and just spend a bit of time going across all of the edges. Now, I can already see on this model here, the wood grain effect has been, I mean, that's probably an injection molding thing. But it's been given a quite nice wood grain effect. Interesting, very, very interesting. But there is a tiny bit of warping on a few of these edges. But the key thing to think about with these kit builds is preparation. The better you prepare the model, the better the outcome is going to be. And that preparation is always keyed down to how much time and effort you take to it. If you speed through it, you know, if you're a new person and you speed through it, you're going to make all the mistakes and you're going to end up with tatty model. You know, I mean, this was my second attempt, and honestly, I could have done a lot better. There's a little bit of gap in certain places. There's white marks all over the place. You know, I glued the hook into place. I didn't even want the hook in there. I was just eager to get everything in and get it done. So, I mean, this is going to get... I'm quite lucky that I'm actually going to snap the connections off this. I'll add the rest of the detail. I'll get it painted up, get it filled in quite nicely. And, you know, this might end up being a nice wagon. But there were definitely some things I would change on this. My wife is away with the child, and she's just messaged me saying that the child won't go to sleep. Now, I know exactly why the child won't go to sleep. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm several hours away. That is a little bit bumpy on that side, so we're gonna... There we are. But no, how is everybody doing this evening? What projects have you got going on? Let me know what you're doing at the moment, because I'm curious. Yeah, and I want to thank everybody as well. You know, we hit 100 subscribers incredibly easily. My latest review video hit 750 views. I'm astounded that we hit 750 views. I actually am astounded. I just want to thank every single one of you for that, because it means a lot to me. And it means that those review kind of things are something that I should be doing in the future. So, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. Right, let's have a look at this. So, by the looks of things, we have brake. So we've got brake gear here. So this is the chassis, the sole bar, the side plate with the chassis with the W-lines and the axle boxes. I don't know if that's real, if that's required. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's a piece of the injection molding. We'll see. It doesn't look like there's anything else. There's a bit of flashing on the sides, a little bit like that. I know for a fact that this rod isn't needed, and neither is the additional bits on the handles. So we need to get the... So we've done the body. Let's first sort out the rest of these bits. So by the looks of things, the body will sit... Each body part will sit sort of like this. There doesn't seem to be any sort of, you know, here is the sit, here is this. Interesting. First, let's sort out the flash on all of this, and then we'll continue from there. Yeah, I should probably stock up on some of these weights, honestly. I don't have any right now. So that's probably something I should do. Point motor holes in my fan or track bed and drilling wiring holes. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I've started that. I've done that for 2 of my turnouts. I really should get round to doing the rest of them. And you just DC fitted some of your locos. Fantastic. What DCC system are you using by chance? I'm quite curious on that. Yeah, we'll do it like this. It might be a bit easier. Try and get that in there. But yeah, I'm curious what DCC system you're using. I use DCC. I'm going to be using DCC EX, which I've been really enjoying playing around with so far. I'm really looking forward to getting you guys up to speed with how that's been working. But yeah, that's a whole other video. Gauge Master Project Express and DC for points. Wow, fantastic! I almost bought a conventional system. Originally I was looking at Hornby Select, and then I heard about the Gauge Master Prodigy. The Z21 was the closest I got to buying a conventional system. I heard so many good things about the Z21 system that I really almost bought one. I got a friend who lives quite close to me who uses Digitrax. Just realised I'm grinding this underneath where my camera is. Yeah, I've got a friend who uses Digitrax, and he's happy with it. He's had some teething problems with certain locos running Zemo decoders, but we took a trip to Vienna because Vienna is literally like an hour's drive from us, hour and 20-minute drive from us. We took a trip to Vienna straight to the Zemo headquarters. We had a lovely chat with their techs, and they flashed our decoders, our Zemo decoders, up to the latest specs. And we brought them home, and everything's been perfectly fine. So we managed to do really well with that escapade. Note to self: get a lot of these nail files. They really are a godsend for straightening out, plastic kits, etchings, things like that. They really are the bee's knees for getting that stuff sorted, but you have to be very careful with how much you see. There you go. I've almost gone a little bit too far on this. Almost. Now, yes, I probably should have gone along with a scalpel blade first and just cut like this and taken off that bottom edge, but I wanted to actually figure out and see if doing it with the nail file would take long, because I think you end up getting a slightly smoother cut with the nail file. So surprisingly, that piece looks good. There's a little bit where this buffer beam hasn't gone through completely. So I'm just gonna try and see if I can coax it to, there you go, so slightly bored that one out, and then on this side here, don't want to do it too much, just enough to get to the other side. Now yes, I am using a crosshead screwdriver, or Phillips head screwdriver for this, but it's just so I can get a tickle of that buffer head through, so I know where it is moving forward, because I just want to make sure. There we are. I just want to make sure that we get good results. So there we go. We've got one end, and let's put them in there, shall we? So we've got one end and a floor done. Yeah, so I have I've got everything down to, I think I've got it down to 1,000 grit, sandpaper wise. But mostly that's for woodworking. I haven't got any smaller bits for specifically model work. I probably should, I probably should. get that sorted. So one tip for you guys is, if you're going to use a scalpel blade to cut through these horrible sections, is try as hard as you can to not cut through it instantly. Do little layers as thin as you can, because otherwise you'll end up ruining detail, cutting something off that you shouldn't be cutting off. You know, it can just go absolute farcical incredibly quickly. And yeah, and also remember to use a fresh blade. A fresh blade is definitely gonna help you. Yeah, so I don't. I have some for the Dremel. I have some tiny drill bits for the Dremel. But I don't have a pin drill set yet. I have one on order, because I want to start moving into brass. So let me go grab something quickly. So I have this kit, which I probably shouldn't open, but I'm gonna open it anyway. No, I'm not, because I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. So this is a GWR AA1 Toad brake van. So if I go GWR AA1 Toad, there you are. So this is I don't know what specific kit this is. But this is a two-axle version of the three-axle version of what I'm after. I think actually this is probably a better representation here. That's an AA7. AA15, AA20. No, it was here somewhere. There it is. So let's go here. So this here is a 6-wheel brake AA1, and this is what this is a kit of. Now apparently this is a 7mm kit. Now if that's a kit, that looks freaking good. Like, it looks really good if that's a 7mm kit. Yeah, looking at this, that's a phenomenal kit. So that's the idea with this. So that's what this is. Now this cost me 20 quid on Fleabay, and all it needs is 3 sets of axles, some 3 link couplings, and sprung buffers. So I want to spring buffer this, but I'm also going to custom do the handrails. So this is going to take me a little bit of work to do, but this is a brass kit, and it will be part of a brass rake. So eventually I want to have an entire rake of wagons that are brass, and then eventually a locomotive to haul them that are all brass, so I can go, haha, I did that. It'll probably take forever, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I've got a few. I have a few of the tools and things from Lidl. Some of my hand tools are from Lidl here in Slovakia. But I've also ordered a few bits on AliExpress as well. You know, AliExpress has been getting really good for, you know, ordering certain bits. So I thought to myself, yeah, I need to update my tools. I came into a little bit of money, and updated my tools, so I can start doing these. But there are still a few, you know, jigs and things like that I need to acquire, I need to build, you know, in and out of doing other home tasking, as they say. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a strange one. I'm actually, this is the first time I've been able to do any proper sort of modelling in the last 2 months, really. Oh, that was close. That was very close. Let's see if I can get a channel dug in there properly. There we go. So that's what happens when you don't pay attention. There we go. So, yeah, the amount of times I've seen I've seen videos of kit builds on YouTube, which I've watched quite a few. I'm not gonna lie, I've watched quite a few because I like them, you know. I like to see what other modelers are doing, and I like to see how they're doing things, and I like to, you know, learn, because that's how we improve as modelers ourselves. And the amount of times I don't see people preparing their models first, like for example up here, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see this at all. No, probably not. So on the top of this open wagon, there are a few spots that have got little bumps on them. Now, if you don't prepare this by sanding them down ever so slightly, and it just needs to be ever so slightly, just enough to take the top off, that will pop out and will display the flash line when you go to paint it. And it will haunt you, and you will notice it. Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it would just haunt me. Now I can't decide if that bottom section is supposed to be part of the soul bar or what. Now, I can't decide. Now let me stick that like that. I think it's supposed to be part of the soul bar. Now, unless that's supposed to sit, I think the only way we're going to be able to discover this is if I take the soul bar off and potentially bugger something up. Let's have a look, shall we? What do you think? Do you guys think that this piece here means anything? I don't think it does. I think this whole corner assembly here means bugger all. You know, I've had a look at an 022 wagon and I can't see anything that's poking up. What I can see is actually the bottom of the soul bar, bottom of the side that goes underneath that section there, seems to sit above the soul bar. So actually it sits above the soul bar there, which is fine. So I don't think that exists. So I'm going to get rid of it. And if it's wrong, it's a four quid mistake, isn't it? So, you know, I'll grin and bear it. Always try and, you know, not snap things when you're trying to, which is what I think I've just done. No, okay. Be very careful. This is why you're supposed to have a decent pair of snips. You know, while we're on that subject, yeah, I think I'm just being overcautious. You know, I think I'm being just incredibly overcautious. I should really pick up pack of zero track cutters, really. So we're going to take that bit there. And it came off so brittly you never know it existed. So, yeah, that didn't last very long, did it? So we're gonna cut this off completely. I'm gonna grind it down completely. There you go, and there we are. So we're gonna get the chassis ready. Now again, this is the same thing. You want to try and adapt it so that you can take the mold line off. You can take the flashing off the end. So this has definitely got a little bit of flashing on the end. Don't know if you can see that at all, but there's a little bump on the end there that's showing up. So we're gonna spend some time enjoying doing this. So what do you guys do when you're modelling? Do you guys listen to music? Do you watch something? Do you have your missus sat next to you? You know, what do you do? Sometimes I have the daughter in here is doing something else. You know, I did some track work while watching TV series last year. I'm trying to convince the missus to come in and, you know, do some stuff with me, but, you know, she's dead set against it. That sort of thing. But I'm curious. I'm very curious what's going on in your modelling lives. You know, I'm a great advocate of being able to share what's going on. And yeah, just, you know, just enjoy what we're doing. You know, just enjoy the modelling. So now another big part that I can see that needs to be trimmed. We've got these bits on the edges, so we can trim up these edgy bits, trim them down, but not too much. And then there's the nubbins, we could say, the nubbins of the inside corner there. Then we just work our way down. There's a little bit of a mold line on the inside. I wonder if we could use the back of our blade to try and, or just the edge of our blade. Yeah, we can use the edge of our blade there to just disguise that and get rid of that line completely. Look at that. Working in the layout room, but I usually build and detail rolling stock in silence. Is that just so you're not distracted and you don't you know, make any mistakes, or is that just out of pure habit? You know, I'm quite lucky that I'm talking to you guys, because otherwise I'd probably go insane. You know, probably go insane if I was talking to myself, quite honestly. So but yeah, this just goes to show that with a little time and patience, you can produce a really good model. Now, I've just noticed that when I was taking the sprue off, I created a tiny little crack. A very tiny crack in the sole bar, which you wouldn't be able to notice if you didn't put pressure on it. So I will remember to put some poly on that before I carry on, because that needs to be sorted. So we're going to go along and do the axle boxes. Bending brass lamp brackets and things. Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. The last thing you want is to get distracted when doing things like very minor, very minute, small things like that. I'm actually quite impressed with the level of detail on this. You know, you can see the springs, you can see the W irons and so on. Yeah, I think brass W irons would definitely look better. But you know, as a plastic mold goes, as a kit, it looks pretty good. It really does. Don't worry, we'll get around to gluing soon. But you can't rush the preparation. You rush the preparation, you could end up ruining the entire model. You know, that's how I see it. And I might be completely wrong, but that's how I see it. Now, as to what colour we're going to paint this, well, I mean, I might paint this tonight, I might not. But I would definitely, I'm definitely going to prime it. That's what I would like to do tonight, is to prime it. Let's get rid of some of these mold lines. Haven't touched my beer in a while. I've just been told my daughter is apparently still awake. But it's too late, I can't call them, so there's nothing I can do about it. Right, let's get back to this. I think we're pretty good on this body side here. I think we're pretty good on this body side here. Now, I will say this one thing for the Rapido 4-plank. So I can tell you that the underframe detail on this is not going to be great. You know, it's not going to be great. This has ratio all over it, and it has, you know, these sections on the side of it. If I have a look at Rapidos, have they got a picture of the underside? Doesn't look like it. Rapido diagram 021. They haven't been released yet, have they? No, it doesn't look like it. Does anyone know where there's an underframe detail? So I'm going to. Okay, that's fine. Do we know anywhere that has any images of underframe detail under here? Because from all we can see is the brakes and the lever. It's good to see that the lever is on one side. Yes, I said lever, not lever. Give me a second, just say goodnight to the missus. There we go. I think they might be being released at the moment. Yeah, well, you know, they might be for all well and good. I don't remember seeing anything of when they were due. I could be completely wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter. The idea is that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great, but I'm going to do my best to do it. So, It won't have side frame detail. I mean, I could probably scribe some, if I wanted to. I could probably get about scribing some lines in there and do, what was it, 5 planks? 1, 2, 3, 4. I could probably do that, but I don't feel confident enough to do it yet. You know, maybe when I've got one wagon in and painted and I can see what it will look like, then I can, you know, piss about with that sort of stuff. But right now I'm not inclined to acquiesce to that request and you know, start sorting something out. Also, I don't have, you know, an incredible amount of tools. You know, there's probably a methodology to doing it. I think Dibs shunting layout, Dibs shunting yard, on Instagram. He's done some really good technique stuff with. See, I've just gone over that there. He's done some really good techniques with distressing woods, and so on, for wagons. So I'm probably going to follow that kind of stuff for, you know, setting up the individual planks, maybe on some older stock. You know, some of the 1907 stock maybe. I know there are 1 or 2 kits of 1907 RCH stock kicking about. So that will go well. By the looks of things, the 021s we'll also use. So these are the same steel underframes in 1886. They were added to design. So by the looks of things, these 4 planks were added. So 1886. Hey bud, how's it going? Thank you for joining. No dramas. I thought I had a late meeting with some guys in Seattle. So I for the company I work for, there's a group. There's a few people that work in Seattle. There's a lot of people that work all over the world. You know, you can hazard a guess at who I work for. It's, you know, go ahead. Anyway, so I thought I had a late meeting with them, which is why I scheduled the live stream for 8 o'clock UK time, 9 o'clock my time. As it turns out, I didn't have the meeting, so you know, I decided to start early. I think we've been going for quite a while now, almost an hour. But yeah, thank you for joining. Happy to have you here. How's it going? How's the layout? I must confess, I haven't watched your latest W2 Hush Hush sound file video yet, but I'm going to. It will probably be straight after this, quite honestly. But that yeah, I have been a poor viewer. I'm so sorry. But yes, the unfortunately we can't always control things. But I digress. I am very intrigued to get your input on HM7000 for the Hush Hush. I'm still disheartened by HM7000. I really want to like it. But there is a little niggly bit inside of me that is saying that the lack of GWR is disturbing. I find the lack of GWR very disturbing. Now, I know they have recently released the King sound file, and I'm going to be quite honest, it's pants. It is really pants. So, yeah, cool. So at the moment, I am building a Ian Kirk 4-plank goods wagon. I bought this on eBay over a year ago for I think $450, something like that. $450. It's of a diagram. Let me go back to this page. So it's of a diagram 021. So the same diagram that Rapido have announced in ready-to-run form that it's $32.95 on their website. And don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. So I've got my reference images and things like that for when I want to go and paint it. But the idea is that I spent $450 on a kit, and I'm doing the kit. So, so that's how it's going. So right now, all I've been doing is I've been going through piece by piece and sanding it down and basically talking my ass off to the lovely viewers that have joined us. So thank you to everybody that's joined. Come and say hi in the chat. Yeah, really be interested to know your stories, get to know you guys, and get some feedback. Honestly, I the only way that we can get through all of this YouTube malarkey and everything is with good feedback. I'd like to get your feedback. How many times can I say feedback in a sentence? Well, you say it's 27 quid saved. So this kit didn't come with axles, so I've had to source 2 axles myself. And I'm debating picking up a load of Dapol or Dapol, Dapol axles. They seem to be the big ones to go for. But there are also some on Wizard models. I think that one, yeah, we'll go for that one. So there's Wizard models limited. I know that there are some axles. It's probably not even on Wizard. I don't know. I have no idea. Their website's being that's not the right. It's that one, isn't it? Wizard models limited. That was close. It was a modelling agency. We want to go to wheels, axles, and bearings. 4mm for Great Western Railway, and we want. Okay, so there's nothing there specifically for. There's wagon kits and components. My guess is that there's going to be nothing here. But what am I going on about? Doesn't matter. But the idea is that there are some axles that I can get. It'll probably be Dapol. And that will go for. But these I got from I want to say Bachmann Thomas the Tank Engine train set troublesome truck, and they're metal. What can I say? I've redone the back-to-backs on them. So this is a 14.85mm 00 SF, which is special fine, I discovered. Back-to-back gauge, and that slots in there and make sure that these are in proper gauge so that they will fit in between my rails. Eventually I will, get the courage to actually show people what I'm doing and how I do this. So there you go. I've just done that there, and 14.8, and the next one there is also. I did that with an open hole. Let me do that with the actual specific bit there. Okay, that one's 14.9, so that's a little bit too much, but you get the idea. It's there to measure things out. Anyway, so that's the idea. So we've done half of the wagon body, and I'm working on the other half at the moment. We've also got the brake gear, brake lever, and the brake shoes themselves, but there is no buffers whatsoever, so I will either doctor those from a different kit or just buy some sprung buffers. Honestly, I could probably buy some sprung buffers and be perfectly fine with it. I'm not sure how the system how the model will take it. It's probably not worth it. I could probably get just put some plastic ones on there and be perfectly fine. However, The only issue I found so far with this, and it's not really an issue, is that there's no internal planking. So there's external planking, as you can see here, but there's no internal planking. It's just completely flat. So what can you do, eh? What can you do? But Mr. PC, what about you? What are you up to at the moment? Your layout's looking a lot better than mine. You can see mine is covered in stuff. Yeah, I had a lot to do, but I managed to get some foam down finally, which is why there's a load of books and stuff. It's just ended up having other bits piled on. I had some friends over the weekend, and I had to make some room. But it's in good nick. We're getting ready to finally put down the last bits of track work. I've got a little bit left to do on that side, but other than that, we're almost good to go on that. With some luck, I'll get some more of that done this weekend. So I was just explaining to everybody else, the proper use of staple, to use carefully, and not cut with it, but slice with it, sort of thing. The last thing you want to do is like start cutting detail away, like I almost did there. That was insane. I think this blade is getting a bit blunt, so I think after this kit is done, we're going to be ordering some new blades. I think that blade is actually done. So I really wouldn't mind trying to do some sort of planking, but I don't think I would. I don't think I'm confident enough to screw with it yet. I think if I win, I will foreshadow this. If I win the next bid, I've got a current eBay thing going on for the next few days with some more of these kits. If I win that kit bundle thing, I will scribe this other one. I've just put down the second level. Glue is drying and tap screws. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. But I find it therapeutic, honestly. I find kit building therapeutic. And this is just a basic one. This is really just a very basic kit. I was showing the other guys, I was showing everyone else beforehand, so I have this one, quite well done. I've got I've got an even more complicated kit. This is a brass toad that I will do when I've got the parts for it. I will do a complete part series video on this. That's going to be a scary build. Yeah, valleys. I could do a false fall from Plasticard, and I think when I get round to kit bashing, because there are a few diagrams of model that are not yet available. We already know that there are a few that are not available yet, and I will get round to doing some proper, cutting and shutting and kit bashing and so on, eventually. But for these basic, these basic kits that cost $4.50 or whatever, their level of detail is enough for what I'm after, which is I want a wagon that from a distance, when it's painted up and weathered, it looks the part, and it will run in a rake of 2 or 3 or whatever. To be honest, I'm not 100% fussed with these plastic things. Especially these older ones. These older kit models they're great, but they're really just they're like stocking fillers. They're really like stocking fillers. I've got an itchy nose. They fill in rakes. They do things like that. There are some beautiful modelers. God, I'm really itchy. There are some beautiful modelers that can do wondrous things with... God, that's better. With these kits, these older kits. That I just don't think it's, at least for me, I don't have the skills yet to be able to do that. I hope one day I do. You know, I hope one day I can be proud and I can create one of these posts on Facebook or Instagram or wherever and say, look, this is the current project that I have going on. This is the current build that I'm doing. And document the process there. There's a ton of them on RM Web. There's a ton of these people that are doing some beautiful modeling and documenting it on RM Web. And they've got some really good, providing me some really good inspiration for like a milk train. One of my things is I really like the idea of building rakes, of wagons and rakes and things like that of trains that would be typical for what would run on my layout. And one of those things, it just happens to be that there would be a regular milk train that would run from near Plymouth up towards London, and it would be 40 or so milk wagons long, and hauled by, either it could be hauled by a manor or a hall or a 28 or a 47 or something like that. I'd like it to be hauled by a 47 because I love the 47. The 47XX is probably my favourite. I would say it's probably my favourite non-tank locomotive. I just don't know why. I don't know why I like it so much. People, you can call me crazy if you like, but what is not to like about a 280 heavy freight locomotive? It's like a 28. It's a 28XX on steroids. It's just gorgeous. So if I ever see one of these, particularly in either Great Western or Roundel, because look at that. Tell me that isn't gorgeous. I know it's basic, but it's gorgeous. Don't tease me. Don't tease me, please. Okay, cool. This week, this is probably a good time for a deviation and a history lesson. Do you want a history lesson? So, yes, my layout is, how do I put this? It is the Americans would call it proto-freelance. The Americans would call it proto-freelance. So what that basically means is that it's prototypical, but I'm just showing you where I live now. I live here. If you didn't know already, I live literally here in Slovakia. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to go over to this lovely area of land here. Now you can see that this is a lovely place called Kingsbridge. And one day I will get round to modelling Kingsbridge. So, there is a little branch line. Thanks, Kudra. I really appreciate it, dude. Really appreciate it. And thank you for commenting as well. Join in the conversation. I really would really appreciate your joining. So where was I? So, there used to be a... oh, come on, Valley. You need to do some more videos. Come on. Join us. One of us. So there is a... I've just realised I've got the wrong thingy there. I'm showing my face instead of the camera. Anyway, yeah. I didn't set up a scene for this. I didn't think I'd show my camera and the screen at the same time. So there is Kingsbridge, which is down here. I hope you can see that. And that is the terminus of a short branch line going from South Brent up here. So there used to be here, if I go Street View, you can see this building here. It used to be a goods shed. Emphasis on used to be a goods shed. If I go to Brent Junction, Devon, there we go. So this building here is this building here. So eventually I will build this junction station, but I wanted to start small. So that's the pre-context. So the idea is that I want to build the entire branch line from this junction here, just this single picture of a junction here, and that will go all the way down to Kingsbridge Station, which goes down to this terminus station, no, that's Brent again, this terminus station here, a curved terminus station in Kingsbridge. But my layout, so when I first adapted it, it was a random layout from random place and it was just going to be made up. But I changed my mind when I discovered... Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So, from Brent... I've lost my place now. Avonwick is there... Yeah, so from Brent here, the line curved down and hit Avonwick, which was the first station. It then followed the River Avon, past Dipford, and hit Gara Bridge. It then followed the Avon a little bit further, cut off down to Loddiswell. The station was further down here, and then eventually hit Kingsbridge. Now, I would like to model each of these stations correctly. Now, from my estimations using original track plans, each of the layouts will be 3 meters long. So the station of Avonwick, Gara Bridge, and Loddiswell, in complete 1/76 scale, will be around 3 meters long, with maybe around a 2 meter platform and about half a meter on either side for additional scenery. Now, to my layout, so the first station of Avonwick here, we come down to this little lovely place here called Dipford, and you can see that there is a lovely little bit where the River Avon comes down here, and there is some clay pits up here and a ridge line here, but you can see very, very slightly this exact line here. Can you guess what that is? Now, it's going to take you some moments to type, so I'm guessing you've guessed it by now, but this is the original line that it took. If I go to NLS maps, so for one thing you should probably take note of is this is a very good way of finding out using ordnance survey maps to find what you need. Exactly, it's an old branch line. It's the old branch line, so it's been completely torn up now. But yeah, save maps.nls.uk and you can find so many hidden gems here. So if we go to, this is Ivy Bridge, we want to go up a bit, so we have South Brent. So you can see here, so this dotted line here is the old branch line. And if I change this map to, I believe it's the 1/4 inch, no, 25 inch, no, there's a specific map that's what I'm after. There we are. So this is Dipford. So this map here is a little bit older, and it doesn't. This is a more. This is 1887, so this is before the railway was built. I want to find one that has the railway built. There we are. So you can see here how much of an amazing resource this is. I found there is a better map. There is a more numerous map, but in essence, my layout starts here, just after where the river would be, and ends here, just after where this underpass would be. That is the extent of my layout, from A to B. Not far, but in scaled up terms, that is a 2.5 meter, 2.6 meter, I would say, stretch from there to there. And now there used to be a quarry, so Oakenham Quarry. So that's where I got my name of my layout. So my layout is Oakenham Brickworks, because I always wanted to model some sort of industry. And there used to be a quarry in this exact place. So I found a branch line that had the exact kind of thing I was looking for. It was a blue route Great Western Railway branch line that ran prairies, panniers, auto tanks, the occasional slightly big goods train, and so on. And because I had already built the baseboards, so I'd built all the baseboards, I had an original layout, and everything like that. I had everything original, and then I changed my mind and designed a new layout to go on top of this based on the brickworks. But essentially, that's how this works. It goes onto the brickworks. So yeah, so the entire thing is end to end. But I will have on. Let me switch back to face cam. So excuse the mess. On the far side, the idea is that I will, when this is operating, eventually, I will move it slightly out, and there will be a curved fiddle yard on that side, and a curved fiddle yard on this side that I can deattach and store while this isn't in use. And hopefully, eventually, I will convert the loft and stick it up there so I can have it as part of a larger layout. Because I would like to build the entire branch line before I die. I have set the goal of building the entire branch line before I die. What I can show you, let me go here. So I use a piece of software known as Templot. Now, if you know what Templot is, have a shout out in the chat and tell people you know what Templot is. But this is essentially my track plan. And if let me quickly open replace without saving. Oakenham Brickworks Real. If I open shapes, Oakenham Brickworks Real, there you go. Look at that. So the NLS maps and this software, they're able to coexist. So we're able to take the NLS map, throw it into Templot, and then use this to create incredibly realistic and to scale track plans. So as you can see, what I did originally is I took the existing size of the baseboards. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. The you know, aim small, miss small has completely missed my mind. No, I think it's a good goal. I think it's a potentially attainable goal. You know, we never stop modeling, so that's the plan. But as you can see here, so I drew out the current size of my baseboards, and I drew in a facsimile of how I would have the layout. So ordinarily, there are a few concessions I had to change. You know, for a fact, one thing I've had to change is that the this line here slightly curves. You know, that sort of thing. I've got a kickback here that's actually where the road would be. So I'll do a little bit of, you know, finagling. I'll change where some of the landscaping is and things like that, and we won't see certain things, you know, whatever. And also, instead of it sweeping down this way, you know, originally the curve the curve would end up down in this corner. I've put it straight to the edge. But other than that, the branch line itself, this piece of track work here, is the right length. It is currently 2.478 meters long as a single piece of track, and that is it's maybe 2.2, you know, without this section here. But that's to scale from the bridge to the entrance is to scale for the branch. So that gives you sort of an idea of how that started, and then that happened so that I would then have it as if I just get rid of I can't really get rid of the shapes, but you get the idea. So then what I did is, instead of having it so it was curved, I then drew it flat so that I could print it properly, and this is how it works here. So this is the branch line itself with the entrance, and this all comes into a little ingle nook, and actually this this piece here actually curves off in that direction as if it was going into the rest of the quarry. But yeah, so there you go. Quick history. I say quick history. A lengthy history session on my layout. I do want to do a proper, this is what I'm doing for my layout video. It will be a lot better structured than me just, you know, drinking a beer and showing everyone what's going on. But essentially, this is what's going on. I'm starting with this tiny corner outside Dipford. And I will move on when this layout is at a reasonable state. I will move on and do something else. Let me show you, for example, let me show you Kingsbridge. So Kingsbridge is probably the next project I want to take on. And we have one here from 1936 that hasn't given me what I need. It's this one I want, isn't it? There you go, 1936. Again, so look, you can see here, this is the throat. This is just the throat of the of the terminus. So you can see here that there is a single branch goes into one turnout. No problem, mate. Not a problem at all. As I said, I want to do a more in-depth video on the current layout and where I'm getting the inspiration and what the inspiration for me modelling is. But yeah, so you can see here that this comes into a single, and then there's a load of point work, a load of cow pens, and good shed and things like that. I was hoping that there would be a better. Why are you not showing me the? That's not going to be the right one, is it? No, so this is the line coming in. Interesting. It's not giving the overall. Anyway, never mind. But you get the idea. And then it's the same thing. So eventually, I think the next one I will do will be Kingsbridge. That is going to be around 4.5 meters by a meter in depth. So that's a big one. And then the other one is Brentford Junction up here. If it wants to give me... There you go. Then the other one is Brent Junction up here. Not the best. This is a 1906, but you get the idea here. So it's a... This has got some really complicated point work for a junction. So you've got the up line, you have a down, you've got an up line, a down line, and a down relief line, and then you've also got a down siding. There's a double slip from going across the down line to the up line. There's then that leads to another double slip that goes across the down line and across the branch line into that's a single slip that then goes down into another double slip that goes into the branch line, across the branch line platform into the goods yard, and then there's a whole thing of goods yards. There's a cattle pen right after this, and then this on the way out it has a right hander, a left hander into a double slip, into there's a crossover, another set of relief lines, blah blah blah. This is going to be the biggest layout. This will be I want to model specifically the bridge, so I want to have it at the end of the end of this, so I can do the River Avon underneath it. That will be interesting to do with the point work on the edge of the bridge itself, and then between both of these, and then all the way down to here, so I can model just a bit of the relief line, and then on either end will be two helices to go to fiddle yards. At least that's what I've planned for. And yes, I've already drawn this in Templar. I've already drawn this to scale. I had a lot of stuff to do. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, as you say, I've been kind of walking off the wagon project, but it's all in good fun. I'm quite happy. I'm really happy with the questions. So thank you very much for asking. So, where were we? Edging sides down. So the edges of this one are quite good. These got a little bit of flash on them here, but yeah, no, I appreciate the questions. I really do. And I'm more than happy to share tooling and so on. There's a lot more people that are a lot better at these kinds of software than I am. Go and check out James at Bexhill West if you want to get more versed in Template and how we go about building templates to hand build our track work. I don't know if I've shown anything recently, but so this is the kind of template that comes out of Template, and then that leads you to build something, and I'm not saying this is perfect because it's far from perfect and I'm going to redo it, but it allows you to come up with your own track work. This is a prototype for sure. This is going to get rechanged. I made one or two mistakes. This was a learning curve. And I'm happy to say that it was a good attempt, but I can definitely do better. But this is hand built. A few techniques that I need to change, but this is the throat. So this is the first. This will be the first turnout of the layout. But yeah, that's another thing for another day. So this is what I'm currently getting on with, is building turnouts. This was a prototype. I'm in the process of doing more, and that's all based off printing templates from Template, down to exacting specifications and hand building and all that jazz. So this is one thing I will not do a video on, because I'm nowhere near good enough compared to a lot of people to be able to tell people what they can and cannot do. Right, so we've got 2 ends. Last thing we're going to do is another soul bar. So we're going to take our snips. Oh, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so the hand-built track work was a little bit of a... How do you do? I don't know. I wanted a challenge, and then I jumped before I could. I jumped in before I could swim, and suddenly discovered that how in over my head I was. I mean, I'm not completely submersed in it. You know, I'm doing 00 SF, which is a little bit finer than standard 00. You know, it's just slight modifications, slight better tolerances. You know, nothing major. It's not like I'm doing EM gauge, which is 18 millimeters between rails. You know, and it's not like I'm doing P4, which is 18.83, which is Proto 4, which is exactly 4 foot 8.5 inches scaled down to 76 times. You know, although I have been really thinking lately of doing, you know, just a P4 shelf layout, just one turnout with one turnout to exacting standards, and you know, build a single wagon or two and a loco. You know, maybe just get a Peckett or something like that, and just modify a Peckett to P4 standards, something stupid, you know, and just say, you know, yeah, I've modeled P4. But yeah, I digress. I haven't gone that native to it, and there's one very good reason for that. There is one very good reason why I haven't gone to P4 or to EM, and that's because I've got a friend who lives literally on the other side of the field behind my house, and he's building an LMS layout based on Coventry. It's not a prototypical layout. He's done the same thing I have. He's gone through the actual drawings. He's gone and done all the templates in Template. He's drawn a beautiful set of templates using actual materials, actual pictures, photographic references, everything like that. But he's shrunk it down. He's completely shrunk it down to what would fit him. I mean, it's still 20 odd meters long. It's a huge layout. I'm going around there tomorrow. I'm going to go play trains tomorrow, actually. And we run 15 coach trains. You know, it's end to end. It's not anything amazing. It's end to end. But you know, we run 15 coach trains, and it's glorious. And they're all sound equipped. So you know, you've got random locos sat in sidings, just hissing away, with an express going one way, a goods train going the other, and it's cool. It's cool as heck. You know, and I can't wait to be able to get my you know, express loco, get an express loco, get that running out, or get a 47. I'm really looking for a 47. If I can find one at a decent price, I will snap it up instantly. And I know it would never run on my branch line, but God, I love those 47s. I really do. I have a problem. I really do have a problem. But I don't know. Yeah, that's why I model 00, so I can go and play trains with my friend. If I didn't have a friend here, that this is the actual thing. The actual funny thing as well is, if I didn't have that friend here, I probably wouldn't have gotten back into modelling. It's very, very weird weird thing to think about, you know. It's actually his drive and his passion for what he's doing that's got me back into modelling. You know, I wouldn't have thought about it. I didn't think about it, you know. It was there, you know. I occasionally watched a video or something like that. But I didn't, you know, I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't think about sharing my experiences. I didn't think about, you know, seeking out other people. Oh, wow, yeah, I can imagine. Early Emblem Black 47. Yeah, I can imagine. I hear bad things about their running, though. I mean, is it as bad as people say, the Helgen model for running qualities? You know, I'd be curious. I've heard some horror stories. I'd rather not have horror stories, you know? Right. This is the make or break. Literally, because I could make or break these brake levers. So we're just going to very gently cop that bit there. Very gently cop that bit there. And cop that bit at the top. There. Come on. Come on. Come on. Make sure my head's not in the way. There we are. A brake lever. So we're also going to snip off that side flashing on either side. Now I'm people are probably wondering, should it really take this long to build a kit? Well, I know people that take weeks. Some of Helgen, yeah. Don't start about the Helgen stuff. I have a 1366 pannier tank. I love that thing. You know, I really do love that thing. And I love it so much that I went and bought a Wheel Tapper's Sound decoder for it, an ESU Lock 5 micro sound decoder for it. And I do not regret it. I do not regret it one bit. But, and I say but, I'm doing this all off camera. I'm just cleaning up. But it runs so badly. It really does run so terribly badly. It just stutters. You know, I've had it on freshly cleaned track. I've cleaned the axles. I've rebent the pickups properly. Everything short of putting new pickups on it, basically. The only thing I can see to improve it is to stick a Stay Alive in it. That's the only thing I can see to stick a Stay Alive in it. However, and you can probably vouch for me on this, the amount of space inside is very petite, and very, very petite indeed. Let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate how petite the 1366 is. For those of you that aren't aware, this is a 1366, a Great Western 1366 pannier tank locomotive. It's a cute little thing. I call it the baby pannier because it literally is a baby pannier. So that is a 1366. It is, from buffer to buffer, 11 centimeters long. This is a 5-plank open wagon. Right. There's more. This is a 57, the quintessential pannier tank. If I put this buffer to buffer, like so, you can see There's a bit more in front of it. And this doesn't have that much room in it anyway. This has no room whatsoever. I mean whatsoever in it. The way that they've done it is confusing as to how much there is no room in it. I'm going to put my PT over there because I like looking at my panniers. In fact, I'm going to stick that pannier over there as well. But one day I will get it working flawlessly. I need to find a good enough and small enough Stay Alive to be able to put in it. And then I will get it working. But when it does work, the sound is gorgeous. And you've probably heard it on my intros from my videos. That's the direct sound through a terrible microphone from that decoder. So, I digress. Anyway, where were we? Right. Brake lever. Now I filed that down incorrectly. So we're going to have to quickly round the top of that brake lever. Get rid of the burr on it. Oh. Yeah. This is another one of these pieces that you really need to spend time. Well, so the Stay Alive would probably have to go in the cab if it wasn't already being occupied by the speaker. So when I picked up the decoder for this, I didn't know which one specifically to get, and because it's a 6-pin, I picked up the 6-pin plug type decoder. Now, in hindsight, I should have bought the 6-pin with the multitude of wires and hardwired the decoder. So that I did a boo-boo. So I need to completely rethink about how I'm going to set that up. No worries, dude. Appreciate you dropping by. Appreciate you asking some questions. With some luck, we'll get chatting very, very soon. Yeah, go and get some rest. I think you're probably an hour ahead of me. So yeah, what, 11 o'clock for you? So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for joining, mate. I'll speak to you in a bit. Where was I? Yeah, so the speaker in there is it is really, really weird. I've got the biggest baffle I can get in there. It needs a rework. Honestly, it's my first DCC install. It really needs a rework. So I'll get round to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Right, now if I remember rightly, let me go look at my reference photos, because I have a funny feeling we want a diagram, 021. I know there's boxes all over the place. Right, so let's have a look at you there. So, yep, these rods there do need to be there. They aren't the most detailed of these aren't the most detailed of brake rigging, and they're going to need quite a bit of filing to get right. So let's see how it goes. We're quite lucky that the sprue itself is actually, I can cut the sprue off from here. Without really damaging the set. And then I can get very, very close. And that is why you have to be careful. So, the brakes are gone. So I'll add that to the list of things to add later. I will see if I can salvage, but I went to cut the shoe off. So I went to cut the shoe off here, and this bit here broke with a little bit of pressure here. So this is what I was saying about the whole pressure sort of thing. That bit's completely broken off. It's old plastic. It was expected. So I need to get 2 sets of brake shoes. Luckily, Wizard Models Limited do a lovely set of Great Western Railway brake shoes, if I remember correctly. Wagon kit. So there's some brake. Yep. Dean Churchwood brake gear for Type 3. Dean Churchwood Type 3 brake gear for 9-foot wheelbase wagons. So that's probably what I will end up getting. Is a set of those. It looks like it's multi-pack stuff as well, so you know, what can you do, eh? So with that, I think I'm going to keep the arm. I've only got one arm. It's single-armed only, so we're going to go from there. Right. Now, there are 2 ways we can put this together. We could use Revel plastic glue, which I would love to use, but I think it's seized completely. I need to, heat up the thing and declog it and all that jazz. So we can't use that, but we're going to use some liquid poly. Now, I use this stuff it's good for plastic on plastic content. Make sure it's well ventilated. Don't leave the cap off. It will evaporate like mad. And I use a shot glass to keep it in the right place. Cool. So we are going to try and attempt to build a thing. Now, usually you should probably aim to have a square of some sort, so you can, have it square. Unfortunately, I don't have anything square at the moment, so I am going to improvise. I want to take one of these rods, so I can use that as a thing. So this is a length of timbering. For my turnout timbers, they're a specific width. Now, if I looking at these reference pictures, I realise these have an awful lot more detail than I thought they were going to. Which is insane, honestly. It's very, very good. So these sides here will sit slightly over the edge like this, I think is what is insinuated here. So these will sit over the side. This will sit directly on the edge here. So that is the connection there that needs to be as solid as can be. So we're going to start, I think we're going to start with doing sol bar to base, like that. So first things first, we want to take our liquid poly. Now, as I said, this is a £4.50 wagon, so I'm not amazingly upset if it goes to absolute pot, but of course I will feel better if it doesn't. So we take a little bit of poly, lather up that edge, and stick our sol bar on the edge, hold it there for a few seconds. Take another bit of poly and run it on that inside. And give it a little bit of pressure from above and down. And have that lick together. Pretty close, pretty close. I think that will sit quite nicely on the edge there. I'm trying to debate whether or not this is supposed to be, by the looks of things, it's supposed to be flush with this end bit. So the connection is quite chemically well done. So I'm just going to rip that off and maybe do half on that inside. You know, this is all an experiment. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, I'll deal with it in the future. That's right, there we go. I realise I'm doing this slightly out of camera shot, please forgive me. But I'm trying to get it so that I can there's not really I'm not really scientifically doing anything with this, honestly. I'm just trying to get it by eye. There's a lot better ways of doing this, so please do not take my word for it. I've just dropped my liquid poly quick before everything. Wow, you can see that's completely dissolving my shit, I ran out of that, pardon me. Accidents. One sec. That is why you keep your lid on. That's why you keep your lid on, people. And you can see that's completely dissolved. Completely dissolved. Wow, okay. My workbench. But the connection has come through quite well. The connection on the plastic is coming quite well. I mean, considering it is a solvent and it is literally designed to, you know, burn it together, I wouldn't expect anything less. So now we're going to attempt to do the side. Yeah. Luckily, this is I think this cutting board cost me €2 on AliExpress, and I'm quite also lucky that I can pick up this liquid poly relatively easily. You know, so I've got plenty enough to finish what I need. So I'll just go ahead and order some more. But yeah, note to self: be careful. Be very careful with liquid poly and other materials. Put a little bit on that inside edge as well, just so we can set that there. always happens when you do something, you know, live, you know? Always when you do something live, do these things occur. We're going to do a quick line across that bottom edge as well, just so we can get this in place here. Now it sets quite, I would say, quite quickly. Not always the best, but enough that if I leave that there for a few minutes, it will set. While we're letting that set, we can we can laugh at the misfortunes of what happens when you do things live. But yeah, I do have a list of things I want to pick up for modelling. Specifically, I need to pick up some. Now I need to maybe pick up a spare mat, but I also need to pick up you know, some machinist squares, some other bits that I can do. You know, some you know, holds the things at right angles. You know, do some. Have some jigs set up. See, that is what we don't want. We don't want that soul bar gluing itself to the table. But just a quick look at that tells me that that's setting quite well. I'm going to give that a slight tweak there. The soul bar, the soul bar and the axle boxes and everything itself will set slightly differently. Just naturally. So now we're going to go ahead and do the opposite side. If I haven't wagoned it and set it so that it's all gluing itself together. Note to self: don't let the wife find this towel. Yeah, so that's that's eaten this plank. So I'll have to do some doxing. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's what happens when you use poly around certain places. I could probably fix it, you know, do some distressing or something. I will figure something out with it. Maybe give it a bit of a light rough sand. No, that's going to just de-stress everything. I'm going to have to make my bed and sit in it. This was a test. The idea was just to have fun today, you know, and come up with some sort of solution. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna mess about and you know, count my chickens as they were. I mean, I am counting the chickens, but you know, I'm not gonna dwell on my mistakes. I'm just gonna carry on. You know, I want to at least get one wagon made tonight. That was the idea of the stream, to do a wagon to talk to you guys, and I have been enjoying it. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as well. You know, it's a different thing for me to do alongside my usual videos. I want to do a few more of those videos, things like that as well. So I really appreciate you guys joining this live stream. And if you've got any feedback for me as well, I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, it's a learning curve for me. New learning curve for me being, don't overdo it on the liquid poly, and don't go live while doing wagon building, because it looks like I'm just gonna build something that's going to fall apart in a few seconds, I've somehow liquid polyed my, there you go. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I could have dropped everything and it could have, you know, completely exploded on me. The only thing to be worried about with this liquid poly is if you put a dab of it on and you don't move it. So if you leave a droplet on somewhere, it will dissolve the plastic and you'll end up with a munched hole in your wagon. That's the only thing I've noticed so far. But it sets quite quickly. So the opposite side is set really nicely on the opposite side. So we just have to give it a few minutes to set off. And we're getting a nice wagon body here, I think, for sure. Yeah, I need to set up maybe a jig or something for open wagons. But we've got a nice set there. We've got a little bit of elasticity, meaning that I can pull out that last section there, just to give us an edge to be able to lift the wagon body on itself. And then we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll take a stretch of it there, a stretch of it on this side here, place that on top like that, and I can feel the instant connection there. Now we want to make sure that we line that up truthfully. There we are. Well, we've got it roughly where we want it. Put a little bit in for that seal. Shut the bottle. So while we're sorting this out, I wanted to ask you guys, what kind of content are you guys watching? What kind of things are you interested in? I want to know, because I want to know what I could do better. You know, what other people are doing you think could be done better by somebody else. You know, I'm really interested in that sort of, in your take on that sort of thing, because for me that's important to know. You know, I want to be able to do good content for you guys. I want to be able to, you know, bring to the table what you guys are expecting. Right. Now the last section of this is the two ends, which are pretty cool. Luckily, they seem to go straight in. So we've got one edge there, one edge there, and we'll do a little bit, one edge there, one and a little bit, one edge there. And we'll take this section here. Now we can see that the holes, there we go, the holes for the buffer beams need to be at a certain point, so we can actually butt this up to the top and hold that in position at the top, and that will give us our square up there, which is fantastic. Bit difficult to do, yeah, a bit difficult to try, but we can get there. Like that. You know, while we're there, we'll do the usual. Evening, Buckley. Thank you for joining. How are you this evening? You missed a diabolical drop. Good to know. Good to know. I've got a few personal projects that need to be done, building wise as well as wagon wise and locomotive wise. So watch this space. There's that bit. So now I'm thinking to myself, the better way to do this is actually to do the body to the wagon sides themselves first, and then do the soul bars under the chassis body underneath. Now the reason I say that is purely because, by the looks of things, one, it might give us a more square effect, but also oh, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Oh, brown paint down to this. Sorry, I read that completely wrong. It's been a long day for me, you can see. Long ass day for me. But yeah, do you know what? We're going to take that. This is chemically bonded now. So here's how not to do this. I'm having to sort of cut my own work up now. Because from what I can see now is I should have probably done the bottoms last. So we're going to quickly take those off while they're not fully chemically bonded. Don't do this at home. Do this later when you don't have things to worry about. A bit of brown paint down. So you've been doing your scenery started, yeah? So I've got some brown paint that I'm always getting down. So right now I'm building I'm trying to build, unsuccessfully at the moment, a Ian Kirk 4-plank goods wagon to diagram 021. So far I have managed to cut out the pieces, talk a lot, talk about what my layout is, do some sanding of certain bits, and also completely drop my bottle of liquid poly. Completely drop my bottle of liquid poly, and almost fail completely. But when I spent £4 on a wagon, I'm not too fussed. I can do something with it. Right now, I'm just getting around to doing the actual, putting it together. I've spent the last while talking for one thing, but also going through my layout. We were talking about, doing certain bits, of layout wise. Talking about this kit specifically, so we did some history lesson on this diagram. We compared it with the Rapido. I can guarantee you for a fact that Rapido's version will be much better than mine is. So I shouldn't give up my day job when it comes to this. Rapido, don't hire me. Yeah, it's been a good night so far. Thank you. I've got a night to myself, which is quite rare when you're rare when you're married and you have a 2-year-old. So I managed to secure a night to myself, and I thought, I'll do some modelling, and I thought, do you know what? I might as well live stream as well. Why not? I probably could have used the time a bit better, and you know, done a maybe, you know, started recording a video or something like that. Maybe, but you know, at the end of the day, I've been enjoying this, and I hope you guys have as well. So, right. So that's the body. Now we can get back to. I can quickly get back to the sole bars. So if I use the back side of my knife and just take off top layer of the gluey bit that I've gone through. Yeah, take off that top layer there and do the same on this side. Give me a nice fresh surface to glue. Give that a quick if like that. Definitely take down this surface here a bit more. So what I can see here is actually this should probably be at a slight 45-degree angle to fit in with the sections at the end there. I think that might be what the flashing was for. So you know, that was, again, it's what comes with not having instructions and not knowing what you're doing, quite honestly. But what can I do? I just muddle on through. So we're going to take this here and put this right up against the edge on all edges, like so. Try and hold that in place. Or we get some liquid poly on the inside, a little bit in that corner, and just hold while we're there. Now I can see my fingers are definitely in the way there, but what can you do? I've got to hold it in place for a few seconds. This liquid poly is rather good. It's actually sticking everything to my darn desk as I'm talking. But it does set rather nicely. I use this liquid poly for my track work. So for all of the track work with these 3D printed chairs, this is all done with liquid poly onto timbers. So you know, fun and games. Almost done actually. The track work. I'm very happy with how it's working out. With some luck, by the end of March, we'll have a considerable, much more amount done. But that's, you know, that's remains to be seen. Let me take off this end nubbins here quickly. There we go. So that slots in. The tolerances on this is a little bit more, or less, should I say, than before. That's better. Much better. Now, does this look like a Rapido quality diagram 021? No, it does not. Will it do for my layout? Probably. We'll find out.
One side definitely looks better than the other after I drop some poly. There's a few I would say differences with the molding. It isn't an older molding. I'll have to double check. I need to double check these soul bar assemblies here, because it looks like it's supposed to have some sort of angle cut into it. So you can see on, specifically on this, let me just reset this edge here, like this. So you can probably see on this corner here, maybe not, if I move the light a little bit that way, there's a little bit of a corner on this edge here. There, that'll do. On this edge here, there's a bit of a flat bit there, where it just butts up and doesn't really sit flush. And I think even cutting an angle into the sprue itself will probably force that out of place. So don't really want to do that. Doesn't look like it's designed to do that. It looks like this is designed to be this kind of wagon, and that's how it works. Maybe what I think is supposed to be is that actually it's supposed to be flush, and these corner angles are supposed to represent the ends of the soul bar, is what it looks like it's supposed to be, which is, if that's the case, then when it's painted and primed and everything, it will look slightly better, I assume. But you know, for a 450 kit, I'm sure it will look great. I'm going to quickly put another layer of poly in, just along the edge, just to make sure that seals up, and we're good to go. So that's one wagon done. We're going to put our axles. Now it looks like these are a little bit too far out for the axles, which is amazing actually. Very surprised with that. Drop these in very slightly for the axles. There we are. Definitely going to spend some more time practicing on these. You know, not everybody is cut out to do kit work, but I did say to myself that I wanted to have an entire fleet worth of kit built locomotives, kit built wagons and locomotives. Eventually I would like to have everything, you know, because to me it's just fascinating. To me, you know, kit building, all that jazz, everything is just amazingly fascinating, and I really enjoy, you know, seeing how. Yeah, that's supposed to go slightly under there, isn't it? Just for there. That'll do. Okay. That looks a bit better. That looks much better. Poke this end in a little bit more as well. It's already started to chemically weld. So that's one thing you have to keep an eye on with these, is that it can start to go off very, very quickly. so I don't recommend doing what I'm doing, which is, you know, demolishing your work while you're halfway through it. Even if it's to get a better finish. But as I said, you know, this is a test. It's, you know, an old kit. I just wanted to make sure that I could, you know, get back into kit work and actually enjoy it, which I have been. And I'm sure the next one will be a lot better than this one. As I said, I've got a Parkside kit that I want to also do, which will be a video on its own, where I go through and do the Parkside kit as well. That should be interesting, at least for some people. How's that come off? These don't also have bearings, that's the other thing as well. They don't have any bearings at all. But maybe the shafts on these, maybe the points on these aren't big enough. Let me steal some. We steal the axles from this. The axle points on this look a little bit deeper. Yeah, they fit better. Okay, so note to self: get better, longer shafted axles. And then we have it. One diagram 22, diagram 21. Almost complete. 4-plank open wagon. Almost complete. You know, it's only taken 2 and a bit hours. But you know, it was fun. I did enjoy it. I will do another one, and I will do a comparison on them. But yeah, it's you know, they're an interesting kit. It's an interesting build. I definitely think that there are some details that are better on the likes of Parkside, things like that. I mean, yeah, it came together pretty quickly. It's I would say the molding is quite old. There's no date on the packaging, but I can tell by the staining on the packaging and everything that the tooling on this is probably quite old, and the fact that it's no longer available probably says that it's a slightly old tooling and model. But I think considering the age of it, I think with a bit of paint, you know, and I think putting in the brake. If I put it this way, if I put the getting the brake lever in, I mean, I could put this in here now, you know, and that could set, you know, up there. That's perfectly fine. But I think if I get a set of handle, a wired handle to go in here. You know, get the proper brake gear in there, get in some buffers as well. I probably won't get sprung buffers now. I'll probably just pick up some easy ones to plug in, and then I can get this painted and go from there. What I actually might do is let me get these axles out, and I'm going to let that dry for a minute. While we're going to let that dry, I'm going to have a quick sip of my beer. I'm going to quickly set up a spray area. Now, I have got a window open. I'm going to open it fully this time, but it was already slightly open. So, now you should always spray in a well-ventilated area. So, not in your office. So don't follow my example, whatever you do. I got this grey primer. Supposedly it's primer. That I want to try out. I'm going to test it on the Parkside model first and see how it comes out. And then I will probably do this one just because I can. It's slightly warped. I mean, it's a bit old, but other than that, it looks good. I like that. I think that'll look good behind me little tank. Little baby pannier with a baby plank wagon. Definitely a 9-foot wheelbase, not a 10-foot. So I won't show you the spray process because I haven't set up the camera for that. But what I will do is I will quickly turn around and do a quick blast on mine. I do want to set up an actual spray booth with an airbrush and everything like that so I can do everything properly. I just don't have the facilities for it yet. Give me 2 seconds. Of course, it's got a guarding safety thing on it. There's a guarding safety thing on it. Hang on. I'm back. So, I can say that primer, it might be good for wood or maybe metal. It doesn't seem to be so good for plastic, even with you know, short test sprays. It came on quite heavy, and I was a bit further away. But I mean, it was, you know, it was €4 for the small can. I'll let it dry. We'll see how it goes. But the idea is that I want to do everything through an airbrush anyway, so I'll pick up some Vallejo primers, things like that, and do it all through the airbrush. I've also gone and picked up myself some rail match paints, so I'll use those for certain things, and then we can go from there. I think I'm going to go to my local hobby shop in the local town. They do war gaming miniatures, you know, some tanks, some World War stuff, that kind of thing, and I'll pick up some bits there, pick up some spray primers from them, maybe get some tips on weathering and such. But other than that, I think we're quite good. Yeah, it's come out all right. I think it's come out good enough for my layout and what I want to do. So it just needs to have some axles in, you know, get the brake work in, get some buffers in, and we can go from there. I'll get those ordered and get those brought over when I've got when my mother comes over and visits. Actually, she usually does a little delivery for me, so I'll do some orders of some bits for wagon creation. I've got 4 or 5 kits that need creating, and I want to put some detaily bits on there, so I'll get those ordered and we can sort those out. But yeah, not a terrible job. I think I definitely could have done a bit better, taken my time. But I think this is the 4th kit I've ever done, and Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. So we'll cross those bridges when we get there. We've got the other 2. We've got another 4 plank and a 7 plank. The 7 plank looks beefy. I'll be really looking forward to getting into that. But I think I'll wait until I have those extra details in the axles, so I can get complete end-to-end stuff done on those. But yeah, other than that, it's 5 to 11 for me right now. So yeah, a little bit late for me. Got work in the morning. I wanted to just do a few hours. But I've really enjoyed your company. I've really enjoyed doing this. If you'd like, I'd be more than willing to do a few more live streams moving forward. I do have some time occasionally. Today was just a really ad hoc one. I thought, why the frick not? So yeah, if you guys are interested, I'd be more than happy to do a few more of these. I've got another video due out next week. I was aiming to get a layout update done before this weekend. It will probably be next weekend instead. But yeah, I digress. I've had a lot to do at home. I've only got a few nights now where I want to get some work done. So I'm going to try and get some more work done on the layout, try and get some more track work done tomorrow, and go and have some fun tomorrow as well, play some trains. But yeah, so I'll leave you with a view of the baby pannier, the 5 plank, and the big pannier. They look so good, don't they? They really look so good. This will be the ultimate shunter one day. One day it will be the ultimate shunter. So, but yeah. Anyway, right. This is me. Thank you very much for sticking around. You've all been great. Thank you for the comments as well. Valley, really appreciate you joining. Yeah, really good conversation. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good evening, and I'll see you in a bit.